Coming up on Mountain News this morning, we hear from just one of the many Eastern Kentucky families that continue to recover from flood damage as they prepare to move back into their homes. And as we near the one-year anniversary of the Western Kentucky tornadoes, we share the story of journalism students who answered a call to help in the aftermath.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
6 o'clock here. It's Thursday, and I'm Dakota Makris. We appreciate y'all waking up with us every morning. Let's head over to Brandon Robinson for a look at our forecast this morning. And Brandon, I think this rain has just got you all down, and you think you're ready for a nap.
Listen, I am ready for a nap. It's just the dreary conditions. And it's not just me, it's everybody.
I agree with that.
Everybody is so tired right now where it's just there's no daylight, there's no sunshine. Like I was saying earlier, it could be 20 below as long as there's a little bit of sunshine.
I agree with that. As long as there's sun, I don't care the temperature.
I mean, little vitamin D out there, but all this overcast and rain, it just gets us all wore out right now. Let's talk about the forecast this morning, and we see again some fog out there in some areas. Not too bad in some spots, but up on Buffalo Mountain, we're looking at a little bit of fog up there. You can't even see really across the mountain to the other transmitters over there. So higher elevations, lower elevations, everybody's seeing some fog this morning. 52 there, 52 in town, 48 in Moorhead to our north, 57 in Harlan. That's kind of a strange hot spot there this morning, but that's where they're at. A lot of low to mid 50s out there across most of the region with the exception of Urban and Ashland and Moorhead, of course, in the upper 40s. Now, that's a pretty good difference in those northern counties from this time yesterday, but you see the further south you go, the less warm it is. Only 3 degrees colder from this time yesterday in Harlan and 5 degrees colder in Middlesboro and Wise, but exactly where it was this time yesterday in Jonesville. So a normal day to a little extra on the coffee meter depending on where you're at. I know I didn't even wear a jacket to work this morning. I had a little vest on and just came on in. But the next dozen hours, unfortunately, the dreary conditions are going to continue. The rain is going to pick back up. I was actually looking at live pinpoint Doppler radar on the other monitor. It looks like some rain's already out in the western counties near Lake Cumberland, west of I-75, so we may have to start showing that again here in a little bit. But that's going to be a trend throughout the day, so just keep your rain gear handy. You may need it all day long. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you. Well, the death of Kirstie Alley to colon cancer has renewed talks of urging people to get caught up on screenings or consider getting there first. Here in Kentucky, colon cancer has the 4th highest incidence rate behind breast, prostate, and lung cancer. As Chad Hedrick explains, progress with health screenings are improving in the state when just a year ago, Kentucky was one of the worst.
By the end of the year, more than 106,000 Americans will have been diagnosed with colon cancer in 2022.
The earliest symptoms when they're in the early stages are no symptoms whatsoever.
Dr. Whitney Jones has spent his career as a gastroenterologist and founded the Colon Cancer Prevention Project. At one point, Kentucky had some of the worst rates in the country when it came to screenings.
Back in the early 2000s, we were #1 in mortality, #1 in the number of people who developed it, and we were 49th in screening. We were screening less than a third of our eligible population.
Dr. Jones credits hard work from a team of dedicated doctors and advocates for improving these rates. Kentucky now ranks 17th in the country with screening rates at 75%, but there is still work to do.
Young colon cancer is a big issue. We're one of the top 3 states in the nation for colon cancer cases under the age of 50.
In the wake of Kirstie Alley's death from the disease and Chadwick Boseman's death in 2021, Dr. Jones hopes to see patients who have delayed screenings or checkups to sign up and put their health first.
My prescription for folks out there is, first of all, know your family history. If you have colon cancer or other cancers that are running in your family, you need to be screened at 40 or even sooner.
In Kentucky, there are resources provided by the state that help uninsured Kentuckians get access to screenings. Dr. Jones says colon cancer is one of the few cancers you can get screened for.
Cancer does not have to be a death sentence. We can really intervene and save lives through both screening as well as early detection.
In Lexington, Chad Hedrick, WKYT.
Superintendents across our region have faced a school year of challenges. After delayed starts due to flooding, many districts are now seeing a drop in attendance because of illnesses. During a superintendent's meeting, many said more students are calling in sick or going to the nurse's office. Perry County Central High School Principal Michelle Ritchie Curtis says her students are also struggling mentally with the trauma of the flooding.
They're really impacted, they're really stressed about it, and they're traumatized, just worrying about will it happen again. And then also add on the sickness and people passing away in their family for COVID or flu. And it's just a lot of stress on those students.
Superintendent said during the meeting on Tuesday they want help with rebuilding funds. There is another meeting set for December 20th. One family in Floyd County is slowly but surely rebuilding and are on the road to returning to their homes after they were severely damaged by flooding. Well, the Cottle family lives in the Wayland area of Floyd County. Pam Cottle and her son Michael Cottle live in houses opposite of each other, and both were nearly destroyed by the flood. After 4 months of rebuilding the two houses, Michael has nearly completed his mom's house.
I was hoping by Christmas, I was dead set on Christmas being back in her house, whether it was completely finished. I was wanted to be in there enough to live there, but yeah, it's not looking like it's going to happen. I'm going to say more than likely middle of January, maybe end of January.
Michael says as a volunteer firefighter and employee of the Kentucky Department of Transportation, it has been hard to find time to work consistently, but adds that he cannot give up now. One Eastern Kentucky business is stepping up to make the holidays a little brighter for people recovering from the flood. Officials with Kentucky River Properties donated $500,000 to the Housing Development Alliance and Hazard and Homes Incorporated in Letcher County. Well, the money will be split between the two organizations. Officials at HDA said the donation is the largest corporate gift the nonprofit has ever received. HDA's executive director says it will help serve at least 10 families immediately. And more than $2 million was awarded to help officials study flood mitigation for the Kentucky River over in Beattyville and Lee County. Half of the funds will come in federal dollars from an earmark secured for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and the other half will come in state funds from Kentucky's Flood Control Local Match Participation Program. You may remember Beattyville and Lee County were hit by severe flooding last year. In the wake of the tornadoes in western Kentucky, journalism students answered a call to help. As Grayson Passmore shows us, a partnership between staff with the newspaper in Mayfield and Murray State University led to many meaningful stories in the aftermath of December 10th.
A senior journalism student from Paducah, Emery Wayne Scott never would have imagined what this past year would hold.
So I work at the Murray State News, the university newspaper. So we cover a bunch of campus things, and obviously there's breaking news and crime and things like that, but nothing to the extent of like a natural disaster of that scale, you know, ripping through an area that's very close to where I grew up.
This time last year, Wayne Scott found herself in Mayfield, just beginning to cover the aftermath of a deadly tornado.
I came into the journalism program wanting to move to like a big city, you know, and work in a big market. But this has taught me how important like community and local journalism is, because a lot of those stories are underserved or not heard. And the people in those communities are just as important as people that live in larger cities.
It was in the days following the tornado that Associate Professor Lee Wright decided to build something out of the wreckage the storm left behind for her students and for her community, which is how 270 Stories got its start.
I had a team of students who went to Mayfield to do updates from there, and another student who went up to Marshall County to do an update from there. They also found some other stories about, you know, PTSD, storm anxiety, some of the relief efforts that were going on.
The project was a success, and eventually the students' stories were published in the Mayfield Messenger. The paper lost its building, but never once missed a deadline. And Wright can be proud, knowing her students were part of the reason why.
And to be able to tell a story of, you know, a community trying to rebuild from a devastating EF4 tornado, you know, that's almost a once-in-a-lifetime type story.
One these students handled with passion and care.
That was Grayson Passmore reporting. Not only does the 270 Stories project include written articles and photos, students also told the community's stories through podcast and social media. Well, Brooklyn Floyd is a senior at South Laurel High School, and she is one of this year's 3 recipients of the Ralph Gabbard Broadcast Memorial Scholarship. Floyd says her dream is to pursue a career in travel videography, meeting people from around the world.
Just learning about like where they came from and what they've experienced and to be able to tell that story to other people.
She says she plans to attend EKU or UK next fall and is thankful for the scholarships that help her pay for some of her tuition.
6:10 here on this Thursday morning, Friday Eve, and we are looking at the rain already moving back into our western counties. Let's go to live pinpoint Doppler radar. If we get a little closer look down toward Wayne County and parts of Pulaski County and over toward McCreary County, you're seeing it already moving in there. Some heavier pockets of rain just to the south of Monticello. I'm trying to keep from switching radars here, but you can see right here. I'm going to circle it for you. Near Powersburg down toward the border, that's some heavy pockets of rain. So again, some sprinkles going on down that way in general. So just be aware of that as you're traveling this morning, especially if you're in southern Kentucky. Temperatures basically where they have been all morning long. 50 Prestonsburg, 57 Harlan, 48 Moorhead, 49 Irvin, Ashland, 51 is a very popular number. Jackson, Pikeville, Clintwood, Middlesboro, 52 London, 54 Somerset and Jonesville this morning, 52 in Hazard. 12-hour planner for you today. Again, dreary, cloudy, gray, all that gloomy. It's just going to be one of those days where we see those rain chances already moving back in, and they'll take over the region as we head deeper into the afternoon. Dakota?
All right, B-Rob, thank you so much. When we come back here on Mountain News this morning, Walmart announces its plan for one of its stores in Virginia that was the location of a deadly mass shooting in November. Stay with us.